Thank you for answering the question. So let me suggest why it perhaps could be meaningful. And I'll do this by way of two supplementary questions. This is specific to PQ number 5. I'll come back to PQ 3 and 4 in a while. So since the introduction of the prime location housing or PLH flats last year, it suggests to me at least, or provides an example why a detailed publication of HDB subsidies are actually warranted. A HDB PLH flat buyer, upon selling his PLH flat after 10-year MOP, will have to return the quantum of additional subsidies provided as a percentage of the original assessed market value of the flat. And the subsidy recovery will apply to the resale price that is a reflection of the prevailing market value, regardless if the flat is sold at a gain or a loss. Another reason I would suggest to the Minister to publish the dollar value of the subsidy is to scrutinize and track the amount of subsidies being diverted for home ownership purposes. This is particularly in view of the Ministry of National Development's 2011 decision to de-link BTO prices from the rising resale market then. The median price of a four-room and larger HDB resale flats has increased 26% between 2017 and 2022. With resale prices reaching record highs today and therefore pushing up the market price of land, increasing the size of the subsidies under the current HDB policy would appear to be the main way through which BTO prices will be kept affordable. In view of these new reasons, what is preventing HDB from publishing the dollar value of HDB subsidies for new BTO flats? Second SQ, HDB's index for affordability, the Minister spoke about it in her last reply, only covers non-mature estates. HDB states that the price-to-income ratio for BTO flats offered in non-mature estates is around 5 or less, which means the purchase price is around 5 times one's annual income, or around 25% of one's salary is set aside for mortgage servicing. Why does the Ministry not disclose the corresponding affordability figures for mature HDB BTO estates, HDB estates which are mature estates? Thank you.
Respect to prime location housing, it actually doesn't really change my answer. Because at the end of the day, the question is what is affordable to the person who's buying. And we have made no secret of the fact that for prime location housing, you will have to have a greater subsidy. So that's the key thing. So it comes back to the same question, which why would you have to disclose or put out the development cost of every single project? It's just not meaningful. The key thing is to the buyer, is this affordable? And that's what HDB does. And I think for the second question, I'm sorry because I wasn't, if Mr. Singh could just pinpoint the gravamen of what he's asking so that I can be sure I address it.
Sorry, Minister, are you referring to the second SQ or the second limb of the first SQ?
The second SQ.
Okay, the second SQ pertains to disclosing the affordability index for mature estates. That's the PQ. But the Minister didn't answer the second limb of the first question, the first SQ. So the second limb, Minister replied for PLH. I take Minister's answer. The second, even though I may disagree with it, of course, the second question was with regard to the delinking of BTO prices as a reason to reveal the subsidy in full. Has the Minister, is that fair? Okay.
I do have the question, and I thank Mr. Singh for it. Can I ask Mr. Singh to file a separate question on this? The reason is this. I have an answer formulated, but I also want to be sure it's accurate. And because, as you know, it affects property prices and the way people approach it. So I think it'd be safer if it's filed and I give you an accurate answer.
So, Minister, just to be clear, the question you are asking me to file another question for is the reasons why HDB does not publish the affordability index for mature BTO estates. Okay, I'll do so. For the first question, I restate my position that because we have now delinked prices, BTO prices, I think the value of the subsidy becomes more important, particularly with resale prices going up. On the earlier question, which I believe was directed at Mr. Leong Man, why PQs 3 and 4, I just have, just for clarification and my understanding about how land is booked in the reserves. And I'm looking at this from the perspective of reclaimed land. So Singapore's total land area has grown by 2.45 square kilometers per year for 60 years, from 851 square kilometers in 1960 to 728 kilometers in 2020. The state can reclaim land and draw on the reserves for land reclamation activities and expenses. I think Minister also shared that, alluded to that in her reply. My two questions are as follows. I would like to ask the Minister a supplementary question. Does the value of new land that has been reclaimed go into current reserves? And in connection with this, is it based on the actual cost of reclamation or the value of new land based on the Chief Valuer's land betterment charge tables? That's the first SQ. The second one is for land that has been reclaimed years prior. Is the revaluation for marking to market done once a year based on the annual land betterment charge rates, or once every 6 months based on the 6 monthly land betterment charge rates? Or is the value of the land in past reserves held at the cost of land reclamation until it is sold to the government for specific use?
Again, sir, I would ask Mr. Singh to file a supplementary question formally, because the answer is likely to be technical. It has to do with how we treat the land in our books, and I really want to make sure that both the Accountant General and the Auditor General are satisfied that what I say is not inaccurate.